CBS Sports is proud to present the 1988 Masters Tournament.
Once a year, time stops and a scene repeats itself in Augusta, Georgia. Gene Sarazen splits the fairway with his drive off the first tee. Next up is Slammin' Sammy Snead. And you know that in the tradition of Bobby Jones, the Masters has begun again. When there were no competitive worlds left to conquer, Bobby Jones created one of his own. And a tournament that began as a gathering of friends became a stage for heroes and legends. Champions past and champions present in one magical place.
Arnold Palmer missed the putt. Gary Player is the new Masters golf champion.
A beautiful round today for the man that's just won the Masters title for the 4th time.
Up the hill.
And no matter how many times you visit the Augusta National, you're always struck by the enormous beauty here. To many, golf is a religion. And if so, this course is the High Cathedral. And today, the greatest players in the world compete for the most prestigious prize in the sport. To the winner today goes the green jacket and all that enormous prestige. Weather for this, the final round of the 1988 Masters, is glorious. Mid-70s, light breeze, 5 to 10 miles an hour. And the player they are all shooting at, from Great Britain, Sandy Lyle, now at 8 under par through 5. Ben Crenshaw is 5 under. Don Pooley has been red hot. He has moved to 3 under after birdieing the 8th. Craig Stadler and Mark Calcavecchia, 2 are at 3 under. Calcavecchia with a bogey, losing 1. Bernhard Langer at 2 under. And then the name that came out of nowhere, Greg Norman, started the day at +5 for the tournament. He came to the 9th green, needing this putt to tie Johnny Miller's record of a 30 on the front 9. And the Great White Shark made the turn at 30, moving to 1 under. Ben Crenshaw, after bogeying the first hole, needed this to get it back. And then at the 3rd, Ben Crenshaw with a beautiful little touch shot. And that pulled him to 5 under. Now the pressure was on the leader, Sandy Lyle. He took his tee shot on the par 3 4th over the green. The gallery parting to give him room. And then Lyle served notice on the rest of the field that he is a leader to be reckoned with here all afternoon, moving to 8 under par. And so Lyle 3 shots ahead of Crenshaw as the two move down to that 6th green. And the question is, will Lyle back up? Let's go out to the 6th.
Lyle is paired with Ben Crenshaw. This is for par. A bogeyless 67 yesterday for Crenshaw. He bogeyed 1 today, then birdied 2 and 3, as you just saw, and now his second bogey in the first 6 holes. So at the moment the lead is 4, but Lyle also has considerable putt here for par. The 30-year-old Scot who lives in Surrey, England, 1985 British Open champion, going for his second major championship. This is for par. All week he has wasted a little time over a putt. Been very confident. He slips a shot at number 6, and the lead is back to 3. Let's go back to the Butler cabin and Brent.
All right, Jim Nance, thank you. And so Lyle now at 7 under and Crenshaw at 4 under. And let's go out to the course now and meet the rest of the announcers who will be covering the action here at the Augusta National.
Hi, I'm Bob Murphy. I'll be reporting play from the 10th hole. 485 yards, dogleg left, par 4. Most players will tell you this is where the tournament begins on Sunday. If Greg Norman were able to play this hole in par in 1986 and 1987, he might be the bearer of 2 green coats.
And I'm Steve Melnick. I'll be at the 11th hole, a 455-yard par 4. After a drive to a wide plateaued fairway, a medium iron is required for the second shot to this long, slender green sloping left to a small pond. And I'll also be at the famous 12th hole, the 160-yard par 3. This shallow, angular green is guarded in front by Rays Creek with 2 bunkers to the rear. But it's the unpredictable winds of Amen Corner which puts the premium on the tee shot.
I'm Ken Ventura, and I'll be at the 13th hole, a 465-yard dogleg to the left, par 5. The creek protects the front of the green and down the left-hand side of the fairway. It was here yesterday that Sandy Lyle made his first major mistake and walked away with a bogey 6. This hole could very well decide who will be this year's Masters champion.
I'm Gary McCord. I'll be on the 14th hole, a 405-yard dogleg to the left uphill par 4. The tee shot will have to be played on the right-hand side of this fairway today for access for a first-time pin placement on the newly contoured back left portion of this severe green.
And I'm Ben Wright. I'll be reporting the play from the 15th hole, a 500 yards par 5. I believe that most of the players will try to carry the water with their second shots today because the pin is in a most lenient position.
I'm Jim Nance. I'll be describing the action at the par 3 16th. Today, the pin placement in its traditional Sunday spot. It is at this same spot in 1986 where Jack Nicklaus nearly aced the hole but settled for birdie en route to a 6th green jacket.
I'm Vern Lundquist. I'll be at the 17th, the 400-yard par 4, straight uphill. It was 20 years ago that Roberto De Vicenzo made a 3 on this hole in the final round, but signed his scorecard for a 4 and lost the title to Bob Goldie.
I'm Pat Summerall. I'll be at 18, 405 yards uphill, a par 4. And to whomever the championship belongs when the end of this day comes, he'll receive one of the great ovations ever anywhere in sports.
And good afternoon, everybody. I'm Brent Musburger. Welcome to the Butler cabin, our host position for the Masters. And of course, through the years, this is the room where they have awarded the green jacket following the final round. So many stories on a final round at the Masters. Sandy Lyle, for example, he learned to play golf as soon as he could walk over in England. His father teaching him the great game at the age of 5. And now it's his green jacket to lose here on this Sunday. But Tom Weiskopf, the hottest golfer out there right now is Greg Norman. Ken Venturi just telling us from 13 that he has rolled in another birdie putt out there.
Well, he's got a possibility. He has a chance, and he has to keep making birdies, though, Brent. And here it is at 13. Let's turn it over to Kenny.
That was after going over the green and make that putt to go to 2 under par. But I said it before he arrived here that he has to birdie this. He has to play 13, 14, and 15 in 3 under par to get to 4 under to have a chance.
Well, Kenny, you know, Jackie Burke made up 9 shots back in 1956. Norman tried to make up 11. Does he have any chance to accomplish that here today?
Well, as I said, he has to birdie 13, 14, and 15 to get himself and then make more birdies. But it's far-fetched. Let's go to number 8 right now.
Let's go to 8 now, and Craig Stadler.
The 1982 Masters winner, Craig Stadler, 4 an eagle, 535 yards. This will get him. That will move him right. second place now at 5 under par, one shot ahead of Ben Crenshaw. 535 yards, uphill second shot, blind, to a kidney-shaped green that hugs those 3 mounds on the left. 2 shots now behind Sandy Lyle. Seve Ballesteros. Even par for the day. Nothing happening quite yet. This putt should break a little from his right to left, and it's very quick. For his part, he made it. Whoops. Whoa, whoa. You can see how fast that is. He's got the same putt coming back. And let's go to 7.
The 7th hole is 360 yards, very narrow straightaway, par 4, just a pitch to the green, which is a tiny plateau surrounded almost by sand. And that looks to have rolled into one of the bunkers that protect this very shallow and tiny putting surface, Ben Crenshaw. But his partner Sandy Lyle is way in the trees to the left, and he's going to have his problems here, as you can readily see with the big pine trees. And he's going to have a very tall order to reach the green. Seve Ballesteros bogeyed the 8th hole, so he drops back to level par. Well, it didn't hit anything, it didn't hear anything. And didn't appear either. Didn't see that golf ball land. It certainly didn't land on the green. So Sandy Lyle maybe in a spot of bother here. And I believe Greg Norman's score looks better and better because he's got to play the 15th hole very soon, and the 15th today is within reach of a medium iron. Joey Sindelar has used a 6-iron, and Payne Stewart just fired it 40 yards over the green with a 5-iron. So Greg Norman, I don't suppose he's going to need much more than a 6 or a 5-iron to reach this 15th green. So it's looking incredibly exciting with Craig Stadler and his recent eagle at the 8th. And there's Crenshaw's ball. It didn't find the bunker, which is a real bonus because those bunkers are mightily deep and you can only see the top of the flagstick if you're in one of them.
I know.
Sandy Lyle there in the bunker, I think. Yes, in the front bunker. So he's got his work cut out. His caddy there, Dave Musgrave, was a design draftsman with Rolls-Royce. Found that very boring. Likes to travel the world instead. Crenshaw now. To 14.
Greg Norman in search of a birdie here. We have had just one birdie. His fellow competitor, T.C. Chin, made it right in front of him. He will get his par, which is a good score here today on the 14th with this new pin placement. And let's go back to 7.
And a test for Sandy Lyle. The pin is placed just 6 yards from the left-handed edge of the green. And and he's a very long way from par. About the only good thing you can say about that is that it's predominantly an uphill putt. I think he was pretty concerned about getting above the hole, but that was not a good shot. And the tension is beginning to build, as it inevitably does. As so many people have said, the tournament begins at the 10th tee on Sunday afternoon. And that thought will burn its way into your mind. Lyle gathering his concentration. It's been so formidable. He's done everything so well. Just that bad tee shot yesterday at 13 when he was trying to lash it round the corner. But this was a bad tee shot here. And maybe even Sandy, who's the calmest of individuals, is beginning to feel the pressure. There you see his record. This for par. My goodness, his holding out has been of the highest order all through this magnificent tournament. That's like a birdie to him, it must be. And that's tough for Crenshaw to take, because it's a developing match play situation, inevitably. Crenshaw knows that if he misses this, he's yet another stroke further behind. Much a similar putt. I think it was a tough assignment for Crenshaw, with Lyle putting as well as himself. He usually has the advantage with this blade. That's a mortal blow. To 8.
Freddie Couples on the 8th hole. Even par for the day, -2 for the tournament. This is for an eagle. These guys are all having a go at it here. I think Freddie can handle that. He'll move to -3, and let's go forward to 9.
People don't really realize, I think, what a difficult hole this is. Ballesteros and now Stadler. Only 130 yards out. Remarkable. 9-9. Far too much. Way on the upper plateau, and now it's a 2-putt would be an accomplishment. 2-8.
Fuzzy Zeller, 1 over par for the day. Oh, that ball escaped right there. And that's going to be a 3-putt 4 up par, and Fuzzy will remain at 1 under for the tournament and +1 for the day. Sandy Lyle, 2-shot lead over Craig Stadler, 3-shot over Ben Crenshaw.
The Masters leader, Sandy Lyle, is paired with one of the most popular golfers in the world, Ben Crenshaw. How will he handle the pressure of knowing that the crowd is in favor of Crenshaw? Well, it was 2 years ago when Jack Nicklaus ignited the Augusta National with that sensational final round 65. Playing with him that day was Sandy Lyle, and somewhat unnoticed, he fashioned a superb 71. Sandy Lyle knows all about the noise on the final Sunday at the Augusta National, and what a great saving putt for a par that was. And now let's go out to the 9th.
Craig Stadler and Seve Ballesteros. Both have done their logistical work. Stadler is way, way at the top of the green. And to get this close, Tom Weiskopf, well, you know more about Stadler than I do.
Pat, he really faces two problems. If he hits this ball too firm, he may putt the ball right off the green. Then again, he doesn't want to hit it too easy and leave himself another downhill putt. To putt the ball within 3 feet of the hole would be a miraculous stroke.
Call him Craig Miraculous. Tom, I guess unless you've been there, you don't know how difficult and how good that was.
Pat, he's been here enough times. He's a seasoned veteran, so he knows all the consequences. He's seen it happen to a lot of players, so he's well experienced in that regard.
Tom, what about Ballesteros' putt?
Well, Seve has a very difficult putt. Things have not gone well for him at all, really, this week, and he's putting across the slope, Pat, from about 25 feet, and he has a lot of borrow from the right. In other words, this ball is going to break quite a bit right to left. Has a lot of speed at the very end, and once it gets to the hole, it shouldn't be going very fast because it'll turn a lot then.
When that happens, all you really need to hear are the birds. And Stadler makes par, a remarkable one when you consider where his first putt came from to 15.
Greg Norman has a 7-iron. He's 195 yards from the flagstick. He has hit the longest drive of the championship. There is no wind. If he makes an eagle here and moves to 4 under, doesn't look likely though. No. That is going to leave him a very, very difficult job to make birdie tonight.
Fuzzy Zeller and Fred Couples. Back to 8.
Mark Calcavecchia's ball. Look at this shot. It's got up there about 2 feet from the hole, straight up the hill, and that will be for a birdie. Mark is currently 2 over for the day and -2 for the tournament. 5 shots back of our leader, Sandy Lyle. This is the 535-yard par 5 8th. Let's go to 10.
Don Pooley from just off the fringe, putting straight uphill for birdie. Well, hello. Don's birdied this hole Saturday and Sunday, and I can assure you that's very unusual. Great putt, Don. Go back to 9.
Couples. Right hand rough, 135 yards away. Whoa. At one time it was on the green, but now it's got to be 15 feet off in front. Back to 8.
Bernhard Langer. for his birdie. This putt will go right to left, and it's very, very fast. Bernhard will tap that in to remain at -2 for the tournament. 5 shots back. Mark Calcavecchia now, after his pitch shot, he's got about a 3-footer for a birdie. Playing in his second Masters and doing a whale of a job. -3 and 4 shots back of Sandy Lyle. Let's go to 15.
Where Greg Norman is going to chip up the whole length, the whole breadth of the green. And he must make a birdie here to have any realistic chance, with Lyle playing so commandingly. It's uphill and swings just a little to the right at the finish. At 2 under par. Well, I think he may handle that the way he's been putting. And here is the outward half of 30 that equaled Johnny Miller's record, set when he was playing catch-up in 1975 in much the same fashion as Greg Norman. 4 consecutive birdies from the 6th hole, 6 under par. That is phenomenal. And back to the 9th.
Fred Couples just got unlucky, really. His ball was almost pin high at one time and came back down. Get up. Doesn't have what you'd consider easy to make par, but that's not a bad shot. Posey Zeller started the day. He's playing with Fred Couples. As he started 2 under, is now 1 under. Absolute dead calm at the moment. No adverse conditions in any fashion. Posey. To 10.
Seve back on the hill from approximately 190 yards. Probably a 5-iron. The pin today is virtually in the center of the green. Tough stance. Want to try to hit the ball to the right and draw it back into the hole. Oh, and he's hit a beautiful shot. Approximately 20 feet. 18 to 20 feet. Go back to 9.
Posey Zeller makes his par, stays 1 under. Fuzzy does not appear to be happy. Back to 10.
Stadler has just boomed a drive here. He has driven it a full 30 yards past everyone that I've seen all day. He's got no more than a 9-iron. I'm really guessing, but I'd say 140 yards at the most. 146. I just heard him say that. Thank you very much for the information. Playing beautifully, 4 under today. Good shot as well. He's got it under the hole. A little bit farther right, of course, than he wanted to be. Go back to 8.
Ben Crenshaw, 3rd shot. from about 65 yards. From right there, it'll go past the pin. That's not a bad play at all. He's underneath the flagstick, about 15, 18 feet. You can see those 3 mounds. That's the taller of the one, and the one standing guard up there is our current leader, Sandy Lyle. And believe me, that is, where he's got it to the left there is absolutely the Temple of Doom. I don't know what, you've got to pitch it over that big knoll, and then it runs straight down to the flagstick. Tom Weiskopf, I know you're sitting there. This is pin high to the left. Can he keep this ball in the green?
Well, that's his best choice, is to try to get the ball almost through the green on the back of the green. Do not leave it short, and he'd wind up be playing from the same position, Gary. He can't see anything, so that's a tough shot to judge. Anything carrying at least pin high is going to go to the back of the green, I would suspect.
See what it can do. Just a high loft over the hill. And there it'll go right straight down. I knew it'd be a tough shot to get close. See, he's only 10 feet. So close, I mean like 2 or 3 feet. Tom Weiskopf, now isn't that straight downhill from right where Sandy is right now to the flagstick?
Right where he's caddy pointed, it comes down probably on a 4-to-1 slope. That shows you how good his touch is. He's only hit 3 greens to this point on the front 9, and he's saved par twice and then pitched in on the 4th hole. That was a miraculous shot that he played right there. That shows you how good his touch is.
And let's go forward to 15.
Greg Norman for the birdie that will take him, if he makes it, to 3 under. And that's going to be a lot of leaderboards for Sandy Lyle to look at if he can just get another birdie or 2. My goodness, he could really set a fantastic early total. He'll go back to the 9th.
Fred Couples. Par for Fred. Let's go back to 8.
Ben Crenshaw in dire need of this putt. Currently at -3, 4 shots back. +1 for the day. Tom Weiskopf, we've had 4 guys hit the ball on this green: Joey Sindelar, Craig Stadler, Fuzzy Zeller, and Freddie Couples. Was this green always that accessible? I know it's straight uphill, 535 yards. These guys just hit it that much farther?
Well, when you're those 4 players, I think almost all the par 5s are accessible.
Yeah, these guys eat raw meat, don't they, those 4 guys?
That's right. Under ideal conditions, the longest of hitters has a chance to reach the green in 2, but only the longest of hitters.
If I was a betting man, I would bet Ben will make this putt. He has got to. Didn't hit it. Didn't hit it. He'll remain at -3. Tom, on this putt right here, let's go to 10 before he putts.
Stadler's ball's on the way. And when I tell you he just left it high, it went right over the edge. When you get that thing 4 under, you begin to believe they're all going to fall in the hole. Very good putt. Back to 8.
Tom Weiskopf, this is one of these classic putts here at Augusta where you've got to hit it out to the left, but you can't hit it too hard. It'll go right through the break.
It's strictly a touch putt. You play a lot of break, let it die, and find its way to the hole.
Just a little too easy. Heck of a putt. That would have been an unbelievable 4 from where he was. He's got a little work left. As he can find some change to mark it. And let's go forward to 16.
The amazing Greg Norman. 8 under today. Now playing this 175 yards par 3. Gotta get up. He could pick up 1 more birdie coming in. Not only will he have a great score posted, but he could also equal the course record, 63, set by Nick Price just 2 years ago. Price today shot 66 to finish 1 over. But right now, the leader is Sandy Lyle, followed by Craig Stadler and Don Pooley, Norman, Couples, and Calcavecchia at 3 under par. Final round at the Masters.
Well, Sandy Lyle is our leader from Great Britain. Craig Stadler is a Masters champion. But Tom Weiskopf, let's talk a little bit about Don Pooley right now. At 4 under, he's out of the University of Arizona. He'd had difficulty with the par 5s until today when he got birdies on the 2 of them on the front 9. What kind of a player is he? Will his swing hold up now under pressure, Tom?
Well, probably Don's difficulties are in the fact that he doesn't have great length and probably can't reach the par 5s. So we'll go to the 9th tee and Pat Summerall first of all, though, Brent.
And the last 2 of the day, Tom, Ben Crenshaw first. Well done. In fact, that's out there with the longest to 10.
Fred Couples from approximately 175. Probably a 6-iron for Fred, maybe 7. Freddie's 3 under, 1 under today. He left it short and to the right. He, of course, playing it to draw and just left it out there. We'll go to 15.
Jack Nicklaus playing his 3rd shot. He hit a 5-iron over the green. And for once, the 6 times champion is playing in the wake of Greg Norman's applause to 9.
Mark Calcavecchia. Birdie putt. He and Bernard Langer head to 10, and Mark Calcavecchia, don't forget. Sandy Lyle, leader at -7. Stadler at 5, Pooley, and Calcavecchia now at 4. And Greg Norman and Fred Couples at -3. And a lot more time. Back to 11.
Quiet Don Pooley beginning to make some noise. That, had it fallen, would have moved him to 5 under. So Pooley, who has never broken 70 in his 4 previous trips around the Masters, suddenly in 3rd place, 3 under par in his round today. Playing absolutely flawless golf on a day that separates those that are playing very well and have control of their emotions and those who only think they're playing well. His fellow competitor Doug Toole now got off to a bad start today. He was 4 over par through the first 7 holes. He's picked up a birdie since then. He's at +3. While we wait, let's go to 9.
Sandy Lyle has driven it through the fairway, right-hand rough. Has 165 yards left to 15.
Jack Nicklaus for a birdie. He is 4 over par just as he started the round. And as I say, he's been standing back listening to the applause for Greg Norman in front. Back to the 9th.
And Sandy Lyle just about ready.
Hold your position, please.
Excellent. Left of the flagstick, he hit a 7-iron, and this one's coming back down the hill. And it's going to be better than excellent, I think. Best of the day to 16.
Greg Norman to go to 4 under and a tie for 3rd. He has once again put together an incredibly low round. He shot 62 one round this year at Bay Hill, 62 at the Australian ESP tournament, and now fashioning a 64 if he pars in as we go to 11.
Second shot for Stadler on the way. It's moving right. And in his position at 5 under and just 2 back, not a bad play. He took the water on the left, the small pond, out of play. 11, the first hole of this 3-hole swing at Amen Corner. 455-yard par 4. And now a player many feel is simply the best talent in the game, Ballesteros. Even par on his round today. Fine iron for Ballesteros. Up ahead here at 12, Pooley. Probably a 7-iron, 160 yards. It's through the back of the green, but a fine shot nevertheless. He's avoided the water here at 12. Sandy Lyle continues his good play, has the short birdie bid at 9. He has a 2-shot margin over Stadler.
Sandy Lyle at -7. Craig Stadler has moved to 5 down Pooley at 4 under par. Lyle and Crenshaw just playing the 9th hole right now, so there's still much to do. And Crenshaw almost. What a marvelous 4 it will be. He drove it so far that nobody could believe. Par for Crenshaw. He remains at 3. We go to 16.
This is Norman moments ago for par to stay 3 under. And he's at that figure. That 3 under par mark last year was good enough for him to get into a playoff as we go to 11.
Stadler's chip. To 9.
Lyle makes birdie. He hit such a beautiful second shot, and it just kept getting better and better. 16.
Jack Nicklaus. Again, the pin today in a similar location to 1986 when the Bear almost pulled it out from the tee. This time he has sailed it over the green here at 16. Jack at 4 over par. No top 10 this year. So we go to 10.
Mark Calcavecchia from approximately 150 yards. There's a little bit of tree limb to contend with. He'll have to keep this a little lower than he would really like unless he goes all the way around the tree limb. Takes a good piece of turf when he swings at that ball. Right at the hole, and boom, stop right there. Right behind the hole, about 12 feet. Mark is playing very well. I'm very proud of him. Still 4 under, even par today. And we'll go forward to 11.
Ballesteros to move 2 under. Ballesteros was the youngest professional ever to play in the Masters. He celebrated his 20th birthday during the 3rd round in 1977 and seems to be a fixture ever since on that leaderboard. Winner here in 1980 and 1983. Playing with a 1982 winner, Stadler, who won in a playoff at the 10th green. Beat Dan Pohl in that 1-hole playoff. He left himself this putt for par. When he plays well, he may be as good as any player in the game for 10.
Back on the tee. Sandy's taking that 1-iron again. He knows what he's doing now, because from 10T, the players can see the scoreboard next to 18 green, and you know exactly how you stand. Have a very good idea of what you're faced with. Go forward to 12.
Pooley has chosen a putter. Prudent play. He's about 4 steps beyond the putting surface. Don Pooley showing experience and holding together under this enormous pressure. Very quietly moving along at 4 under par. He's 4 back. Sandy Lyle, with that birdie at 9, has moved to 8 under par. Currently enjoys a 3-shot margin over Craig Stadler.
Well, Sandy Lyle continues to lead the Masters, but how about Mark Calcavecchia? As you watch him compete today, keep in mind that his wife is an aerobics teacher, and she got Mark to lose some weight this year, and it has paid an enormous dividend. He has tremendous hand-eye coordination. Here's someone who'll whip you in bowling, he'll take you on in table tennis, and also he can shoot pool. But before we see him at work, let's go to 17.
Here's a strong fella, too, Greg Norman. 125 yards out, second shot. Doesn't like it. And that's why he's going to be off to the left. Tell you how strong he is. This morning on the practice tee, he cleared a net 50 feet high, 265 yards out with the driver, just to entertain the crowd. To 12.
Ballesteros tee shot on the way. Ooh, maybe the only player today right of the flagstick. To 10.
Mark Calcavecchia putting downhill. You can see how gingerly he tapped it, but it just got away to his right. He's had an up and down day. Birdied 2 and 8 and 9, but he bogeyed 4, 6, and 7, so he's still firing at the pin, I can tell you that. And back live. Bernhard Langer. This putt will lean out to his right. I've seen it all day. Got it right in the heart. Good putt. Good read. Very good read. Sends Bernhard to 3 under. Having a good tournament as well. Masters champion in 1985. 10th hole is yielding more birdies today. We've had 7 birdies. There you see where Sandy's fashioned that 1-iron some 175 yards away. Set to play. That looks to be about a 7-iron. Feet below the ball. So be careful not to pull it. Throwing it right up in the air. And Sandy's hit a very good shot. Very conservative. Up into the back right of the green and drifting back down. We'll go to 12.
Stadler, tee shot, 8-iron. Just off the edge of the putting surface, hit it right at the flagstick. A lot of players might have taken a safer route to 17.
Greg Norman will chip this ball, 3rd shot. Up the ridge and then downhill. That is superb. He's disappointed it didn't go in. And why not? Everything else has today. 8 birdies on the day for Greg Norman. We go to 10.
Ben's getting ready to play. 6 iron, 175 yards. A couple of birdies today, but 3 bogeys, so Ben is 1 over. Got this one right at the flag. Under the hole. And we all know what Ben Crenshaw can do from there. Needs to put some pressure now on Sandy Lyle. And over to 16.
After taking a drop from the gallery, this is the second shot of Jack Nicklaus. And at age 48, he still has that masterful touch as we go to 12.
Stadler's chosen to pitch the ball. It's about 2 steps off the putting surface. Got away from him. Careful. Oh, he got a good break. He hit the flagstick, or that ball could have been 5 or 6 feet past. That could have gone either way. So Stadler 3 shots out of the lead and in second place. Looks as though he'll get his par here at 12. Moments ago at 11. This is Fred Couples, wild to the right. This is way right. Tom Weiskopf, I don't think I've ever seen a player, I've been out here 7 years now, that far right of the fairway.
Yes, I would have to say that's quite a bit offline, Steve. Even as bad as I hit it at times, I never found that position, thank goodness. Quite a recovery, though, I might add.
With his brother Vicente holding the flagstick, Ballesteros for birdie. Is it enough? His tournament preparation perhaps second to none. He missed the cut at the Players Championship. Has been here since Saturday. Almost 14, 15 days now make that. Worked hard every day. Now after that fine second shot, Couples long bid for birdie. Just in the fringe. If he's not careful, he's going to give back a shot that he hoped to recover with that fine second. Stadler made his par at 12. Let's go back to 10.
Sandy Lyle said this morning in the paper that he was going to bring a 15th club with him. Patience. And that's just the way he looks. He looks very calm. That's another good putt. Very good attempt. Looks like he's got his emotions under control. He's even going to go ahead and put this out, which I can assure you I haven't seen any of those all week. Shows me a bit of confidence. That shot he hit on 8 that McCord was talking about earlier. And we'll go forward to 18.
Greg Norman. Bunkers left. Needs to go left to right, obviously. Didn't. It's in the bunker. Could almost tell by the applause that it wasn't what he hoped. Back to 10.
Crenshaw doing a little plumb bob in there. Pretty much a straight putt. If it does anything, I believe it dies a little to his left. Nice and firm up the hill. Needs to get started. Bad luck. So Ben's not quite applying the pressure that he wishes here. Go forward to 11.
Couples for par. Ooh, what a save that was. Couples for about 40 yards right of the fairway. That deserves a smile. To 10.
Ben taking his time here. Straight in, tap in. I truthfully thought Ben would be the guy to put the heat on today. He's had a hard time getting started. So the leader is coming your way down there, Steve Melnick, into Amen Corner.
Well, Bob, the wind's starting to pick up, and we talk about those unpredictable winds here at Amen Corner. They say you might not win the tournament here, but you can certainly lose it. And that's what's facing Sandy Lyle as he approaches the 11th tee. We're at the 12th tee. Couples, after that miraculous par.
Over the middle of the bunker? Yeah. I walk up to 6.
He asked for yardage over the middle bunker.
48.
He's 148 to carry the middle bunker. It sounds as though he's taking the flagstick out of play, content to put the ball on the green. And there's a delay as he's waiting for the second shots of Longer and Calcavecchia, playing to the nearby 11th green.
Fight. Fight.
That flew in the back bunker. Couples, as strong as he is, that was probably an 8-iron. Calcavecchia's second shot at the top of the hill at 11. Long drive. And another good shot. 218.
Greg Norman in the bunker. He's 135 yards away. 63, by the way, as was mentioned earlier, is the course record set by Nick Price in 1986. The final round record is 64 by Maurice Bembridge, Hale Irwin, and Gary Player. This is T.C. Chen. Nine he had. Long left and rolling back. Now Norman, he has to be concerned about the lip of the trap as he comes out. E2, a 9-iron.
He got it up.
Bunker to bunker. To 13.
Well, there's a shot of Don Pooley coming into 13, and this is one hole where he had to make birdie. He's at 4 under par, but he had to lay up on his second shot, and he's a little bit short right now, so we go back to 11.
Langer looking at a birdie bid from about 30 feet. Putting across the top of the ridge at this 11th green. Langer's hung in there well. He's 1 under par in his round today. Now 3 under in all. As we go forward to 12. This is not a difficult shot. Oh, it is a difficult shot. It's plugged. All he wants to do is get it out. Hope there's some pace to it. Be very careful not to put it through the green. That's Rays Creek beyond. That's how careful you have to be here at the 12th. Langer for birdie. .218.
Greg Norman just arrived. He came out of one of those 2 fairway bunkers that have really not always been there. Just missed what could have been a spectacular shot. Tied for second the last 2 years. And tied for heartbreak a lot more than that. Still up there. Beautiful. Back to 11.
Calcavecchia for birdie. Yes! So Calcavecchia pulls within 3. Sandy Lyle watching at the top of the hill. So Calcavecchia moves into a tie for second with Stadler. 3 back of Lyle. Sandy surveying the entire situation with Dave Musgrove, his caddy, to 13.
Don Pooley's attempt for birdie. It's downhill very fast and one you can't run at very much. Slow down, ball. Oh, you're there. Puts it by about 4 feet. So will not make birdie here. Stay at 4 under if he makes that putt. But it was a must for Don at 4 under. He had to put some birdies on through 13 to 15 and as we go back to 11.
The deliberate Langer needs this for his par. 2 birdies and 1 bogey. That picture says it all. The Langer saves his par. The 85 champion giving a good account of himself again this year. Tied for 7th last year. The tournament seems to be Sandy Lyle's to win or lose here with a 3-shot lead, playing amen corner to 18.
Greg Norman. A spectacular round for him.
Lyle's second shot on the way. Smart play once again, took the water out of play. He's long right, but he's found land. To 18.
Greg Norman just said thank you. Back to 11.
Crenshaw from about 165 yards. He has the better angle than Lyle. He's shooting actually away from the water. Started it right in an attempt to hook it, and it stayed there. So Crenshaw needing to make something happen. can't seem to pull the trigger, but this man can, Calcavecchia. Not a bad play under the circumstances. He took the flagstick out of play. He aimed left, put it on the green, the 13.
Craig Stadler from 210 yards going for the green. He's 5 under par. And look out, he is now under. He's done it again. He went in there yesterday but was able to play it. Came out with a spectacular shot, but this one I saw a splash, and I do not believe he'll be able to play this one. And that is a very, very costly mistake right there. At 5 under par, he could have posted birdie or possible eagle, would go to 6 and put some heat on Sandy Lyle as we go to 12.
Langer needing to make up ground will probably go with the flagstick. That was a step away from being perfect. He knows it. Brave effort, nevertheless. To 16.
This is Chip Beck just moments ago. The last time 16 was aced in the Masters was 1968. Clive Clark of Great Britain. Now watch Chip Beck. From 175 yards down the slope. At the last second, the brakes stopped it just inches short. A heck of a shot for Chip Beck. Sandy Lyle leads it by 3. Craig Stadler, Mark Calcavecchia in second.
Well, the unflappable Sandy Lyle continues to lead this Masters. You know, they have awarded this great championship 51 previous times, and no one from Great Britain has ever won the title. But someone is closing in right now. Born of Scottish parents in England, Sandy Lyle served notice early. He had taken his tee shot beyond the 4th green, and watch this glorious chip. This is what he had to do all day long on the front 9. Hard to believe they called him Pudge when he was a teenager growing up. Now here are a couple of golfers who made runs at him early. Don Pooley, brilliant birdie putt. And then there was a Masters champion, Craig Stadler, this for an eagle on number 8. He jumped to 5 under, but he has found the water on the 13th. And so Sandy Lyle's lead continues to hold up. And let's go out now and find out about the trouble. Here's Ken Venturi. Ken?
As you see, Craig Stadler having to take a drop. The ball today was underwater. But before he pitches, let's go to 11.
Sandy Lyle. And out of respect to these very fast surfaces, Lyle has left himself something for par. Calcavecchia has his work cut out. He's about 80 feet away. He's birdied 3 of the last 4 holes. And there you see the pace. This is the flattest green on the golf course. Calcavecchia has his work for par at 12. Lyle with his work for par at 11. Yes, sir. No. Did not break at the end. They say the pressure is enormous for someone leading after 54 holes at the Masters. The last time the leader after 3 rounds won was Craig Stadler in 1982. As we go there now.
Craig Stadler's 4th shot. Just moments ago, jumped up, tried to use the back of the hill, but it just stayed up there. So Stadler found water on his 2nd shot. Ballesteros found water on his tee shot. So Ballesteros could have dropped, and he is putting for par as we go back to 11.
As Crenshaw needs this for par. So the man who plays the game with a passion perhaps not seen since Bob Jones. And up ahead here at 12, Langer not out of it now, 4 back. Could pull within 3. So the 85 champion hangs in there. To 14.
Quietly, Don Pooley now is only 3 shots back, 170 yards away. His pin placement is in the back left hand. Part of this green, a brand new addition to this green. Don is at a 6-iron. From that point right there, it is straight downhill to the flagstick. They recontoured this green to get that pin placement in there, which they've never had before because the green rolled off and back to the left. Let's go back to 13.
It's Greg Stadler for par. What a costly mistake, but with Sandy Lyle making bogey 11, but Stadler makes bogey at 13 as we go to 12.
Excellent 2-putt by Calcavecchia. He remains just 2 back. A man many discounted today with his lack of experience. This only his 2nd appearance at the Masters. To 13.
That was bogey for Stadler as Seve Ballesteros prepares to putt for bogey. We go back to 12.
Langer made his par here, and he is at 3 under. To 18.
And Jack Nicklaus. That's his 3rd shot. Back to 13.
Ballesteros now putting for bogey. When the caliber of Ballesteros and Stadler walk away at 13 with 6s, they feel like they've lost 2 shots. Costly bogey for Stadler will drop him back to 4, and Ballesteros will go to 14 now, even par for the tournament. As we leave 13, let's go back to 12.
Seven iron for Crenshaw.
Oh, babe. Oh.
Almost the same spot of Fred Couples, that appears to have a much better lie than did Couples. Sandy Lyle needs to be careful here. I doubt his aim will take him at the flagstick. At the very worst, it'll be the center of the green. All he wants to do is find land. Water. Those ripples tell the story. So Sandy Lyle, with the tournament his to win or lose, has taken that first step backwards. This devilish little par 3, which Jack Nicklaus calls the most demanding tournament hole in the world, has taken its toll with Sandy Lyle. We've seen him miss greens, get it up and down, pitch in for birdie, make par savers. When you put pressure on yourself, it only makes the final round of a major championship play that much more difficult. So Lyle trying to sort through his thoughts. There you can see it. You have to question his management. If he aims at the center of the green, that ball is on the green. Instead, it appeared he aimed at the flagstick.
Steve?
Yes, Tom.
If you think that tee shot at 12 is difficult, you should see the shot he has to play right now. Very important choice. He's got a lot of options.
Tom, I think his best play is to go back to the tee.
Well, or maybe find a good place to drop the ball on a level lie and give yourself a full wedge where you can spin the ball.
Where his caddy is about 50 yards from the flagstick.
Greg Norman is with us, Steve. He shot that great 64. Greg, your feelings right now about Sandy Lyle, and what should he do out there?
Well, if I want to make a point here about the way they mow the grass here, you'll notice they mow it either down grain or into the grain. And what Sandy's got to make a choice here now, which he's done, is dropping the ball down grain so he can get a good nip on it. If he drops it with the grass going into him, he could chunk it fairly easily. But you see, as we see from here, it's dark, so he's dropped it with the grain, so he's got a little easier shot because of that reason.
Easy shot, Greg, if he can sort through his nerves.
Well, that's very true, Steve.
And like Tom Weiskopf surmised, that's about all he could do. So Lyle will actually have to get it up and down for a double bogey. It would put him back into a tie with Calcavecchia. Well, we mentioned moments ago that you don't win the Masters at Amen Corner, but you can certainly lose it here. And Sandy Lyle knows that only too well right now. What a change we're seeing here. And this the final round of the 52nd Masters. Lyle shaking his head, perhaps more out of disbelief than anything else. Let's take a look at his shot, but first let's let Crenshaw play from the back bunker. What a dangerous little shot that is. Crenshaw about 8 feet away for his par. And now Crenshaw has certainly bolted back into the picture. Tom Weiskopf, Sandy Lyle.
Well, as you can see, he was really directly aiming right at the pin, and he came off the shot. And when you come off the shot, you never make full contact, and you come off the ball and it doesn't reach its pinnacle of distance. Consequently, the ball is taken into the water. You don't shoot at the pin when you're in his position on this hole ever, ever, ever.
Greg, we watched Nicklaus 2 years ago aim at the center of the green, take it out of play.
Greg, your feelings?
Well, I'm just going to agree with Tom. I know when, even today, that all I did was took a 7-iron, and I remember playing with Johnny Miller here in a practice round, and he said, Greg, whatever you do when the pin is back right, aim at the middle of the green and cut the ball in there, because if you hit it solid, you're still going to get on the back corner of the green, and I think that was one of the greatest lessons I've ever had practicing with Johnny Miller.
Especially when you have a two-stroke lead.
Two-stroke lead, even if you're, well.
Lyle trying to sort through his thoughts. That for bogey. This gallery that you see back behind 11, 12, and 13, absolutely stunned, taking all this in. So Lyle, who came to 12, 2 shots in hand, now falls back into a tie with Mark Calcavecchia, who up ahead has no idea what's happening. Craig Stadler now just one back as we go to 14.
Speaking of Craig Stadler, from 135 yards. Stay up, there's a ridge right there. Ball's going to stay up. He's got about a 10, 12, 15 footer, I guess, there for his birdie. And we have a tie for the lead with Sandy Lyle and Mark Calcavecchia. Craig Stadler is 1 shot back. I know Craig is on this hole. He has no idea what's going on because there's no leaderboard here. And let's go back to 12.
So Lyle has dropped 3 shots in the span of 2 holes at the first 2 legs of Amen Corner. Herbert Warren Wynn named it in 1958, and how appropriately so. Crenshaw now needing this for par to remain 2 back. Don't count him out. It was just 4 short years ago that he won his first and only Masters title. He'd like nothing more than to add a second to that list, to 13.
Now it comes to Mark Calcavecchia, 205 yards. And he doesn't know what happened behind him, but he's taking dead aim at it. And another thing, as we said with Stadler, don't be short. He's in the right-hand rough a little bit. Took it in nice and high. This is a good-looking shot. Oh, trust me. What a good shot. And that's about as close as you can put the ball today. He puts himself about 30 feet behind the ball, be the hole, but it has been a most difficult putt to read. I have not seen a single putt made from back here all day long. Bernhard Langer is 175, took it around the bend down on the flat, and it has a 5-iron to the green. They can see the scoreboard at the 14th tee is, you can see it from the tee and you can see it from the 13th fairway. And I know Mark has looked up there and he sees the 5 go up on the board for Sandy Lyle. Bernhard Langer, 175, 5-iron. Perfect lie. Trying to take it a little bit left to right, but it's going left. It's going to stay out to the side. It'll be on the back fringe of the green, but really a rise coming down fast, and just 2 putts would be very, very difficult to make that putt. But the one who can make the putt is Mark Calcavecchia. The speed is easy, but the line is hard to read. Here's a good look at they come around the bend, and now Ben Crenshaw on the 13th tee after a fine save at 12, making par. But I couldn't agree with Tom Weisskopf or Greg Norman more. The right-hand side at number 12, when you get that pin there, it is don't shoot at it. Crenshaw.
Like that. Yeah, like
trying to make it go right to left. Someone says you like that. That's his caddy, and he will like that. Perfect drive. Perfect position. Looking at the leaderboard, the only one I think that is a little dejected would be Greg Norman. He's in the clubhouse. Anyone on that leaderboard right now, of Lyle, of Calcavecchia, Stadler, Crenshaw, Langer, they can all win this tournament. Is he thinking about yesterday when he hit it in the woods? Take it at that middle pine. Yes, he'll take that. I would say that would be a large drive. When Crenshaw hits his best and he puts it by him about 25 yards. So he's been cool, he's taken it easy, and we'll go to 14.
Craig Stadler for the share of the lead. No room at the top. Craig Stadler -5, tied with Sandy Lyle and Mark Calcavecchia, who is putting for an eagle on the 13th hole. Our 3 leaders. Greg Norman in the clubhouse at 3 under par. Ben Crenshaw, Bernhard Langer, -3.
Well, I guess this is what makes the Masters. Every year, 2 years ago, it was Jack Nicklaus, Tom Weisskopf. Last year, we had Norman in a playoff with Ballesteros and Mize, then that great chip shot by Larry Mize, and now suddenly Sandy Lyle has come back to the back. It's like you always tell me, the tournament doesn't start till they get to the back 9 on Sunday.
Well, Sandy made a critical mistake. He recovered, even though it didn't appear that he hit a good shot, his 3rd shot at 12, but he made a good score, Brent, 5, and then a great drive at 13, but he's brought so many more players back into the competition with a chance to win now. The players that are 3 under right now, with the exception of Greg Norman, who has to wait and see what happens, are only a birdie bogey situation away. And then the other players are playing well. When they look up on the scoreboard, Brent, and they see what happens, that gives them so much confidence.
Tom, let's go out right now.
Anything can happen.
Let's go out to 13. This, as Ken Venturi knows, has been such a great hole through the years. Kenny?
Right now you have two players that have a chance of winning and both putting for eagles. Down the hill is Bernhard Langer's putt. It will not reach the hole. And he'll leave himself 3.5 feet. That was really not a realistic eagle putt. That was one you look at and you say, I'd like to get down in 2. Because for every one you make, you'll 3-putt it about 8 or 9 times. We take one more look at the leaderboard. Craig Stadler, Sandy Lyle, Mark Calcavecchia at 5 under. But Craig Stadler's 5 through 14, and Sandy Lyle and Mark Calcavecchia, I will believe, have to go to 6 going to the 14th hole. And Norman, you just sit there in the butler cabin and have to watch. Crenshaw, I said that Sandy Lyle outdrove Crenshaw by 25 yards. Well, Ben Crenshaw is 185 and Sandy Lyle is 150 yards from the hole. But at the green, Mark Calcavecchia, downhill, the speed is all important, but they're misreading it. The ball will hang out to the right. And so will that. And so will that. That's about how much they misread it. They misread it almost a good foot. No one has been able to put the ball in the hole or to the left of the hole. But it's a good lag. That length right there is just about how every player has misread it. So Langer and Calcavecchia will have those putts for birdies as Lyle and Crenshaw wait in the fairway. Here's a look at Sandy Lyle's tee shot. You see the dog leg going left, the creek into the right side of the green, in front of the green and down, left-hand side, slight draw. The drive is 315 yards. 150 yards to the hole. All the years I've been here, I don't ever remember anybody being 150 yards from the hole on this par 5, which to me is probably one of the prettiest, best par 5s in the whole world. Langer taking a very good look at this because this will put him to 4 under, and so much can happen on the way in. If Sandy Lyle had parred 11 and 12, the contest would have always been over. And Langer makes birdie. He goes to -4 for the tournament, 2 under for today's round. Calcavecchia now with this putt of about 1.5 feet to go to 6 under. He has been very impressive. He's long, aggressive, has a good touch around the greens, and he's got to be enjoying it. And if you think they all look calm, you've never been in this position before. I get nervous watching him putt, hit the shots. It's Lyle and Crenshaw watching Calcavecchia, 1.5 feet for birdie to go 6 under. Oh. Oh. Well, I guess that's why they make the whole round. So Langer and Calcavecchia will leave 13, with both having birdies. Calcavecchia 6 under. Bernhard Langer at 4 under, going to the 14th tee, and now it's back to the final twosome of the day. Again, taking a page from Craig Stadler when he hit it shorter in the water. Both these players, especially at this time, do not want to be short. If they get as close as Calcavecchia, it'd be a fine shot. Crenshaw bringing it in from right to left. He overhooked it. Slow down. And he'll catch the slope. With that hanging lie, protecting from going in the water, he overhooked it and leaving himself a little delicate little shot. Now, Sandy Lyle, 150 yards, has to erase what has happened to him at 11, and more so what happened to him at 12. But he's He's world class, and he's been here before. Very, very high. Right over. Oh, come down, ball. Hello. Slow down. In the back bunker. That is disastrous. That is not the place to be. And 150 yards cannot call out a very good shot. So we have one leader round now. Mark Calcavecchia at 6 under. Craig Stadler and Sandy Lyle at 5.
Two years ago, Mark Calcavecchia was a caddy. He lost his tour card. Then he got it back. Got a hold of some new equipment, which has suited him to a T. And in watching this young man all week here at Augusta, his approach shots, Tom Weiskopf, have fallen so softly to the green, softer than anybody's.
Puts a lot of spin on the ball, obviously, and he has a marvelous touch, as Ken says, around the greens.
Let's go out to 13 now, where Sandy Lyle has still another problem. And Kenny, what sort of a chance does he have coming out of this bunker?
Well, Tom has talked about marvelous touches. This has to go beyond marvelous. This has to go into another dimension of touch. You've got the creek behind the hole, which is only 15 feet from the fringe. You've got to come out of a bunker over a small swale, downhill, when the ball rolling away from you. This, to me, if you had to pick a most difficult shot, this would be one to choose. He has to land it about 8 feet on the green, like so. Slow down. Well, he left himself in pretty good position, and that really, there is a knob there that if you hit it to the left side, it would roll that much to the left of the hole. If you hit that to the right, it would roll that much to the right. So it's almost, it was impossible to get the ball anywhere near the hole better than that, because it just breaks left and breaks right. So Crenshaw now looking at an opportunity to pick up one more shot. Crenshaw at 3 under. Again, we put it into the must category. He must make birdie. As Tom Weiskopf said, that what making those scores, he brought so many players back into the tournament. That is a fine, fine touch right there. It'll be about 4.5 feet. And he thought that ball would break more to the right. Sandy Lyle is marking his ball, and Crenshaw will have about a 4.5 footer. And let's go forward now to 14.
Bernhard Longer on this 14th hole with the new addition to the green. Shark, are you still in the Butler cabin? Greg Norman is left, so we've got, I just want to see how he played this hole and how this new pin position, what this is creating for the players. On the left-hand side of this green, there's a big pine tree that hangs over. The pin is in the back extreme left where they flatten out the green. Bernhard Longer currently at -4, 2 shots back of our leader. Any ball here left of that pin, you can see right underneath that television tower, is dead. I'll be aiming to the pin. Just to the right of the pin, there's a little knoll that throws it down about 20 feet to the right. Let's go to 13.
Sandy Lyle is taking a very good look at this, taking his time, trying to gather his composure. It's almost straight uphill. Won't break, just like we saw Mark Calcavecchia is coming down. They will not break, and every player from that side has missed to the left. Every player above the hole has missed to the right. You just cannot believe the putt is that straight. So after being 150 yards from the hole and walking away with 5, he feels he's bogeyed the hole. Let's go to 14.
Mark Calcavecchia's second shot. A couple little waggles there with his feet. He's got a 9-iron. It's going to hit that shelf and feed down about 15, 20 feet. Good play. Good, solid play. Bernhard Longer tried to go right at the pin and hit that tree that stands to the left of the green, kicked it down in front, and now he's got an impossible chip shot. Let's go back to 13.
Ben Crenshaw looking at his putt, and Sandy Lyle kind of just shaking his head. And I know when he's standing there, I know what he's thinking. He's thinking, why could I be so stupid to shoot at the flag at number 12, which set up the whole back nine? And so 11, he makes 5. At 12, he makes 5, and he's going to make 5 at 13. He played him in 3 over, and that is disastrous. Looked like as he hit the putt, it almost looked like he pulled the putt. Still looked like it had a chance, but the blade looked like it closed a little bit, and whether he was trying to make it go left or right, but Ben Crenshaw will walk away with par. So it has been a difficult situation for both these players. Now Lyle and Crenshaw leave 13 with pars, and now Lyle at 5, Crenshaw at 3 under. So let's go to 15.
Seve Ballesteros, 4-iron from 220 yards. He had it right at the flagstick, but that hard bounce was just too much. His fellow competitor, Craig Stadler, had 210 yards. And now we're at the 16th tee.
This is Don Pooley, and he was right up there just 2 holes ago, but consecutive bogeys. He's fallen back to 2 under. Let's go back to 15.
And this was the 4-iron of Craig Stadler. Started it to the right, and that's where it stayed. Over the bunker, but he's got a fiendishly difficult chip from there to 16.
6-iron has been the popular club today. There have been a lot of shots coming in here very close. A little too strong, and you can see the ball right by the cup is that of his fellow competitor Doug Toole. This one's not done yet. Toole just inches away. Chip Beck left it on the lip. And Andy North earlier today actually lipped out his tee shot for ace. Here's the shot of Toole. Bring it in right to left. Curling. Momentarily looks as though it may go in. And comes to rest just inches past the cup. That was moments ago. Toole was at 2 over. Mark Calcavecchia is the leader by 1 over Stadler and Lyle as we go to 15.
Stadler's delicate chip. What a great shot he played there. That is a magnificent touch. So a birdie is very much on the cards here for Craig Stadler, and if he makes it, of course, he ties Calcavecchia at 6 under par. Talking about Don Pooley, his last chance really went here a few minutes ago when his second shot from the left-hand rough found the water. And he made his second consecutive bogey. Now Seve from behind the green to 14.
Our leader, Mark Calcavecchia, 20-footer, up the rise, down to the hole. Beautiful putt. Good 4 here. Solid 4. Let's go back to 15.
And that was the golf ball of Seve Ballesteros, coming up 5 feet short. Mark Calcavecchia has tapped in for his very worthy par at 14. But he's soon going to find out, I'm sure, that Craig Stadler will have tied him here. But first it will be Ballesteros, who is at level par. Started at 1 under and has never really got anything going at all. He's never been any better than 1 under through the round. To 14.
Bernhard Langer looking over his par putt. He was down in front of the green. He hit that tree that guards the left-hand side of the green. He's got about an 8-10 footer here for his par. 2 shot back of Mark Calcavecchia, and soon to be 2 shots back of Craig Stadler. This putt is from his left to right. It's a new addition to the green. These guys are having trouble reading the break on this part of this new surface. Cross-handed, it hopped as soon as he hit it. Drops a stroke and goes back to 3 shots back. Let's go to 15.
Seve Ballesteros. A birdie, and that puts him back to 1 under par just as he started, but the important putt is obviously Craig Stadler's as we go to the 16th.
Don Pooley can get to 3 under with this putt for birdie. Pooley was 4 under. He's back to 3 under now with that birdie as we go to 15.
And Craig Stadler was oblivious to the noise that greeted Pooley's putt, so his concentration is at a very high level as he taps in for a share of the lead with Mark Calcavecchia. To 14.
Ben Crenshaw, 1 over par for the day at -3. 165 yards away. Pin again is right below that television tower you see there. There's a tree on the left. It meshes into the background there. There's a tree on the left that overhangs. Ben will try to take it just to the left of that flagstick. He needs some birdies. Been a very, very difficult pin to get the ball close to. There again to the right, and it feeds off down the hill. Now earlier, from being the hunted to the hunter, Sandy Lyle with a 7-iron from 165 yards also. That is a great golf shot. He has got a downhill putt now, about 10-footer for the birdie. Let's go to 16.
And the group of Stadler and Ballesteros coming to 16. Stadler opened up this tournament on Thursday with a round of 76, which put him 7 off the pace of Robert Wren and Larry Nelson. He co-holds the all-time record for coming back from the largest deficit after 18 holes. He shot 75 in the opening round in 1982. Went on to beat Dan Pohl that year at a playoff. Calling for it to stay up, and it's over on the left side. It's in the bunker. The bunker saves him from going in the water. That is as close as anyone has come to the water today. Most players have brought it in from the right side, taking advantage of the slope that brings the ball back to the hole. Now Seve Ballesteros. Really, Seve's round today can be pinpointed, his troubles to the lack of execution on the par 5s. He parred the 2nd hole, bogeyed the 8th, bogeyed the 13th before picking up the birdie just moments ago at 15. He was 31 years old as of yesterday, as 2-time Masters champion. Out. Curl back down. It's going to be short of the hole, but a birdie putt. To 15.
Mark Calcavecchia giving it a furious lash, and a right good one. Feeding down off the mounds. He's going to be in perfect position to hit the green. And that is a very long shot. Very good drive indeed. Bernhard Langer himself not out of it, because eagles can be made, as we all know, very easily at this hole. Calcavecchia made that brilliant one yesterday with just a 4-iron to the green. Calcavecchia, we just hear from the top of the hill as the crowds clear away, has 245 yards to the flagstick for his second shot, as Craig Stadler walks behind us to the 16th green. Now Bernhard Langer. Not much sign of a bad back there. Sneaking down the left-hand side, which will give him problems with the pine trees as we go back to the 14th.
Ben Crenshaw, desperate for some birdies. Try to catch these leaders at -6. Ben is -3. No one has made it from down there yet. Sandy Lyle's ball right there. This pin placement has never been used before, so I can't really tell you which way it breaks. I know in practice rounds, these guys thought this putt right here would break to the left. Most of them. Greg Norman, are you there?
I am, Gary.
Hey, Shark, help me with this putt, would you? It's behind the hole, down the hill.
It's about half a cup outside the right, Gary. I mean,
Okay.
and it's all feel. That you can see by the cup there is just lying a little bit right to left for Sandy. So it's going to break at the end because Rays Creek's down there to the left, and this green is very crusty at the back there. So
let's go to 16 real quick.
Well, this will be the bunker shot of Stadler, our co-leader. Squirts out, and will it come? Nope. It is coming back down a little bit as we go to 14.
Part of the lead. Ball just hung right out there. Every ball did that in a practice round. Let's go to 16.
Gary, you can see the ball of Stadler actually did back up, coming right back down the slope, about 8 feet away for his par. The year Stadler won here in '82, he actually won 4 tournaments that year. Followed that up with a winless season in '83, won the Nelson in '84, and since that time, Craig Stadler has not picked up a victory on the tour. 4 years now. Now Seve will survey this putt. He's 1 under. First, let's go back to 14.
Ben Crenshaw for his par to remain at -3, 3 shots back of our 2 leaders. In the middle. He'll go to the 15th hole in desperate need of an eagle. And let's go forward to 16.
Greg Norman, you played here about an hour and a half ago, and you had actually a very similar birdie putt right here, the one that's coming from Ballesteros.
yeah, his putt is going to break a lot more at the end than what he thinks. My putt didn't break because I hit it so solid. The ball had such a true roll on it that if you hit it just a touch softer, it's going to break at least a foot in the last 6 feet. So it's all speed. I mean, at the moment, they're just feeling the ball to the hole.
It's interesting, Seve and Greg, and of course Larry Mize last year in the 3-man playoff. And Seve actually mentioned before this tournament began that he would like to see the playoff, the sudden death playoff, go back to an 18-hole format. Did ask that people not accuse him of crying from losing last year after the first hole, because he says back in '79 when the change was made, he was not a proponent of it that time. To get to 2 under. We could be shaping up for another playoff today. Seve will not forget 16 this year, as he 4-putted on Thursday for a double bogey. Yesterday, Tom Watson 4-putted for a triple bogey. He was never able to get back on track. Watson's return visit today resulted in a 3-putt bogey. Watson at even par, incidentally. Seve remains at 1 under. Now, Greg, how much do you think Stadler went to school on that last putt?
He should have gone to school a lot, because you could see by Seve's putt, he hit it at a perfect speed and it broke viciously towards the end. So Craig is a field putter as well. So he's going to notice from, or hopefully learn from Seve and just allow a little bit more for it.
Is it an advantage for him to be the first of that threesome, Stadler, Calcavecchia, and Lyle, to get into the clubhouse?
Oh, most definitely, yes. I think the key hole right now for these guys is going to be 18. The pin position there is very easy, and I think if somebody gets to 18, 6 under, and hits a good shot in there, I think they'll birdie it to win.
This is for par to stay tied. Didn't hit it. So Stadler slips a shot here at 16, a bogey 4, and we have a new leader all by himself, Mark Calcavecchia.
Mark has 245 yards. He has a 3-wood. He's been waiting and watching. And that looked to be a very good contact, but he's saying, get down. And, oh, is he lucky there is some longer grass behind the green. That adrenaline was really pumping there. This is an extraordinary experience for this young man. He's just played so badly the first 7 holes, but the last 11, he's now 10 under par so far. Now, Bernhard Langer, 235 yards. And you see those pine trees there that intrude in the left-hand side of the fairway, and he's going to have to bring the ball round them. Got a 2-iron.
Go, ball, baby. Go, go. Back on. Get up.
I'm sure we'll see the ripples any minute now. Yes, there they are. And so Bernhard Langer at 3 under par is in real trouble as we go to the 17th hole on the tee.
And Craig Stadler, that well-known Eisenhower tree to the left-hand side, has come into play today. Don Pooley just hit it off the tee, and Dan Poole earlier. Hole is straight away uphill. And Stadler goes right, pushed it out to the right-hand side. Trying to shake the effects of the bogey at 16, which dropped him 1 off the lead. Currently, Mark Calcavecchia is our leader at 6 under par, playing the 15th. Craig Stadler, Sandy Lyle are tied for 2nd.
Well, as we approach the final hour of regulation play here at this Masters, let's show you the shot that backed up the field. Sandy Lyle had bogeyed number 11. When he moved to that treacherous par 3 number 12, the pros will tell you when that stick is over at the right and toward the front, it's as tough as any par 3 in the world. Lyle went right for it and wound up with a watery grave. That allowed the field to make a run at Sandy. First it was Calcavecchia. This is his 2nd shot at the par 5 13. A brilliant shot. Craig Stadler, a birdie putt at 14. And then Calcavecchia with this for a birdie. And he moves to the lead, and he used all of that hole. So Stadler and Calcavecchia are up there. You can see some of our other leaders. Don Pooley at 3 under. Ben Crenshaw never able to mount a charge here today, nor was Seve Ballesteros. And in case you just joined us, Greg Norman provided great thrills here earlier today when he shot a brilliant 64. Now let's go out to 15 and Ben Wright. Ben?
And Bernhard Langer playing his fourth shot, ever phlegmatic. No sign of emotion when the golf ball found the water. Whoa! Boy, oh boy. And there, a rare sign of emotion from Bernhard. That could have been mightily interesting. To 17.
Craig Stadler in the right-hand rough. And the pin cut back right today. Bunker that you see in the forehand could come into play. Here's Ballesteros, a second shot from 130 yards out. That's terrific. Both Tom Watson and Ray Floyd birdied the hole from just a little bit farther away and moments ago. We've had only 4 birdies here today. Now Stadler 125 yards out. Craig has never broken 70 in the final round at Augusta. The year he won in '82, he shot a 73 in the last round. His best final round is 70. He's working on a round of 68 today, 1 off the lead.
Good shot. Yeah, man.
Gallery liked it. Well, they should. 20 feet away for Craig Stadler. As he and Ballesteros make their way towards 17. Back to 15.
Well, Mark Calcavecchia has been all the way up to the hole. He's paced around. He's had a nice little visit with Freddie Couples and Fuzzy Zeller, who are walking by, close by. Now, the moment of truth. Oh, dear me. That had no chance of reaching the putting surface, and he now has a very difficult chip coming over the crest and downhill towards the hole. He looked up at the leaderboard and saw Stadler's bogey at the 16th registered, so he's out there knowing exactly where he stands. Greg Norman, he's got to aim it a little left of the hole.
Well, Ben, fortunately for him, he got the ball up there, and where the flag is, it's on a very flat section of the green, and you know, he's got a lot of green to work with. He's got a good 20, 24 feet of green to work with, so you know, depending on how he feels right now, he's obviously a little pumped up, and the adrenaline's flowing, and feeling the fingers isn't as good as it was 6, 7 holes ago.
Right, the crowd falls absolutely silent, and the flag limp, and this is the 4th shot. Good looking. Whoa, you better put the brakes on. Well, he's got 5.5 feet coming back. Luckily, he's coming up the slope. And we'll go to the 17th.
Craig Stadler for birdie. And, of course, he's totally unaware of what's going on with Calcavecchia back on 15. And this would give him, at the very least, a share of the lead. Not to be. And a foot left for par. He remains for the moment 1 back with 1 hole to play. And we go to 15.
Langer for par. And that's virtually his last hurrah. The 1985 champion goes back to 2 under, and his face says it all. But if that shot that hit the flagstick, his 4th shot had gone in, it could be such a different story. How this fascinating hole can change the whole nature of the tournament. And Mark Calcavecchia now has this par putt to remain with that slender one-stroke lead over Craig Stadler. And Sandy Lyle, who is watching, or has been watching from the top of the hill, he's now taking a few practice swings. But Sandy's got it 210 yards from the hole. There he is, and he's turned his back on the proceedings for a moment. Now, Calcavecchia for par. In the center. That was a confident, magnificent putt. Sandy Lyle watched the whole proceedings. This is a 1-iron for Ben Crenshaw from 240 yards. Of course, he can get within one of the lead with an eagle 3. Started it out a little right, and that's where it remains in the crowd. So he will have to contend with the bunker, which he'll have to pitch over, and he has no green to work with. Very difficult shot he's going to have to play. Now, Lyle from 210 yards. A 5-iron. Just didn't land softly enough, so he's got a difficult chip. And now we'll go to the 16th.
And our leader wasting little time. 27-year-old Mark Calcavecchia. He left the University of Florida after 3 years to turn pro. 6 years ago, now he leads the Masters, 3 holes left. Look out here. Long and left, but dry, and over in an area that is cut down to fairway size. Be a tough par from there. Nicklaus was there earlier today. You can see how 16 has played this week. The 3rd most difficult hole in Augusta National. Well, Calcavecchia has been experiencing shoulder problems for the past few weeks. In fact, he visited the noted sports surgeon, Dr. Frank Jobe. Bernard Langer has been experiencing back problems for more than just a few months. He has seen doctor after doctor. No one can properly diagnose it, and he plans on going back home to West Germany in 2 weeks to get some rest. Hit low, right to left. Look out. Bounced right on top of the fringe, above the bunker, as we go to 18.
Craig Stadler, -5.
Taking it left to right, Pat, which is a good shot for Craig. Missing, oh, look out. That bunker there is 256 yards to the front bunker, so he's hit that about 265.
So Calcavecchia leads by 1. Stadler playing 18, just 1 behind. Sandy Lyle at -5 as well.
Remember that Mark Calcavecchia dropped to 2 under after 7 holes. He was 5 shots behind Sandy Lyle at one point in this tournament. Greg Norman, now we see Craig Stadler in that bunker out at 18-2. You were in there earlier. Is there a difference in where you were?
Well, yeah, I was on the upslope. I hit the ball so far up there, and I was had a lot easier shot than what Craig will have there. He seems to be about 8 yards further back than I was, so he's got 143 yards at the hole, and just depends on his lie. I mean, if he's got a good lie, he'll be okay.
Greg, how were the greens today?
Greens are a little softer today. They've watered them, the back nine. They're a little more receptive to stopping the ball and putted a little bit slower, not much slower.
All right, let's go back to Jim Nance at 16. Jim, I'll tell you, this has been a critical hole in this tournament so far.
And it's proving true once again here, Brent. Of course, we saw Stadler just a few minutes ago bogey this hole and drop out of the first place tie. While we wait for Calcavecchia, let's go to 15.
And Ben Crenshaw. He doesn't actually contend with the bunker there, but he had to contend with the fringe, and it robbed him to 16.
Here's the second shot. Now must hold on. He'll have a similar putt for par to the one that Stadler had and missed. Calcavecchia's first year on the tour in 1981, he earned $404. He had to go back through the qualifying school 2 more years, and now 7 years later he's playing for the Masters green coat as we go to 15.
Well, Sandy Lyle could well throw his visor down. He caught a large part of the left-hand side of the hole with a lovely chip shot to 18.
Craig Stadler, what about the shot?
Well, the ball is not sitting up well. He's 145 yards, has a 7-iron, and he can't really get it as crisp as he'd like to, but he's so strong. Look at this. Hang up, hang up. Oh. That ball was not sitting up. It was down in the sand. Greg Norman. Greg?
Yes.
Was that any good? I mean, you were in there. Was that any good?
That was perfect because, you know, his ball was sitting down there, and I was on the upslope, so I had the chance of getting the ball up a little quicker, and that may be the shot of the tournament right there for Mr. Stadler.
You can't play that unless you're strong.
Exactly.
Back to 17.
Don't forget Freddie Couples. This for birdie. After a terrific second shot, Couples is all alone in 4th place, back to 16.
And the putt, birdie, Bernard Langer. Severe break. Great putt. His brother Irvin in the gallery today as we go to 18.
And for Craig Stadler, what a great day.
Coming into 18, Pat, we've seen a lot of shots, but you'll never see one better than he just played from that bunker. You saw the ball nestled. He had a bite on the ball. What a magnificent golf shot he played. Look at, he just said, ooh, I like it. He sees where it is. Until you get halfway through that bunker, you really don't know exactly where your golf ball is on the lower shelf. And he gave a little sigh of relief, and he enjoyed it very much.
He knew it was pretty good. Back to 12. 16. Beg your pardon.
Now it's time for Mark Calcavecchia. He just turned around as there was a giant ovation from the 15th green. Ben Crenshaw made his putt for birdie to go to 4 under. And you can't count him out either. This is to stay in the lead alone. What confidence. To 15.
And now Lyle with an absolutely must putt for his birdie. A little right to left.
Go in!
And, you know, they all went in for so long, and now nothing will go right for the Scotsman. But Ben Crenshaw's birdie opportunity here didn't go a-begging, and he turned to the crowd and raised his fist, and we'll look at it right now. And don't count him out. He is pumped up. I love this. He just turned around to the crowd, and that's it. So, as Bernhard Langer taps into 16th, Mark Calcavecchia clings to his slender lead. Back to the 18th.
And Craig Stadler and Seve Ballesteros with this huge and appreciative gallery viewing. What about Stadler's putt, Kenny? Seen that putt made a couple of times. Goes a little bit left or right. Not quite enough left to right. He thought he made it. So did the crowd.
That was the same putt, this working out, the same putt that Watson had, and it was dead straight. In fact, Watson, when he predicted yesterday that he needed 65 to win, would have put him at 7 under.
Back to 16. Final group of the day. This 175 yards par 3. Crenshaw 2 off the pace of Calcavecchia.
Get in. Get him
To the left of the flag and into the bunker. Same spot as Stadler. The only 2 golfers today in the bunker here at 16 as we go back to 18.
Ballesteros, same line as Stadler.
He knows it straight. He watched it. Cannot give the hole away. He pulled it and almost hooked the putt. So disappointing finish with bogey. So he'll start it just as he did the first day.
Back to 16.
Sandy Lyle. And then real high and right over the top of the flag. Back to 18.
Craig Stadler.
Now all he can do, Pat, is sit and wait.
Spectacular round.
I thought he made that putt. He had it right on the top edge, and it just refused to move even an inch. There's his score for the front 9 with 2 birdies and 1 eagle. And there's the back 9. Bogey at 13, birdied 14, 15. And then bogeyed 16.
To 17.
And Calcavecchia, who hooked his drive yesterday. Not today. Mark Calcavecchia with a 1-shot lead. And he's in the fairway at 17 with Craig Stadler in the clubhouse. Sandy Lyle still on the course at 5 under par.
Well, Greg Norman, Mark Calcavecchia now is through 16, 2 holes to go. Can he make this hold up? Can he birdie either of these last 2 holes now?
I don't think there's going to be a playoff.
You think that Calcavecchia will go in here now and win his first green jacket?
It looks that way. He looks so calm, cool, and collected. Those 2 putts he made on 16 and 15 are obviously the crucial signs for him that he's got control of his system.
Greg, you must be agonizing over some of those short putts that you missed earlier as we go out now to 17.
And Bernhard Langer's second shot. Out of it now. He's going to be a spectator. For the most part. Here's his second shot. Well done. Back to 16.
The bunker shot, Crenshaw. Little green to work with. However, there is the slope there past the pin that can bring it back. Delicate shot. And for a moment, I thought it might go in as we go to 17.
Calcavecchia is in perfect shape. Middle of the fairway, 120 yards out, probably a pitching wedge. The pin again is cut 15 yards behind that bunker, so he's got a little bit of room to work with. Try and bring it way up. Only hole high. Young man who grew up in Laurel, Nebraska, moved to Florida when he was 13. Said the best thing about that was when he found out he could play golf on Christmas Day, back to 16.
Well, it's Sandy Lyle's chance once more to grab a share of the lead. And Greg, let me bring it back in. Again, you came at it from the direct other side earlier today. How much will this break?
Well, he's got a tougher putt than from being the other side because we're putting up the hill. Sandy's coming down the hill, and obviously there's more field, there's more break, so he's going to have to be very careful with this one.
Looks good. We're tied. Sandy Lyle has won 2 tournaments this year, both of them in playoffs. He's tied with 2 holes to go. That can change the momentum, at least in his mind. It had disappeared on the 11th green. Mark Calcavecchia just a half a hole ahead. Now approaching the 17th green. I'm sure he heard the roar. And Sandy Lyle has something good happen for the first time since the 9th hole, when he made birdie to go to 8 under at that time. Calcavecchia and Lyle deadlocked at 6 under. Stadler in the clubhouse, 1 back. Couples at 4 under, playing the 18th. And Crenshaw at that 4 under figure as well, with this putt for par. He seems to come up with more of these terrific saves than anyone. And chalk up another one for Crenshaw. He is still in it at 4 under. Sandy Lyle now can pick up the pace in that walk a little bit as he heads to 17. He is tied for the lead. One of the great traditions in golf. The most dramatic 9 holes every year, the back 9 Sunday at the Masters as we go to 17.
Mark Calcavecchia was interesting. He was walking up acknowledging the applause from the gallery for his fine effort when all of a sudden the roar went up 3 volumes after Lyle got his birdie, and Mark kind of shook his head. There's a large scoreboard just at the back of the 17th green, but Lyle's score has not yet been posted, so I'm not sure if Mark knows he's tied. I think he probably suspects it. There it is. See that Lyle has still got the 5 under listed. Greg, how about this putt? It's a reminiscent of the putt that Nicklaus had here in '86 almost.
Yes, it is. Dom and I were just talking about it. It should try and fall a little left at the hole because of Ray's Creek down there.
To regain the lead. It's going to stay left. And his effort on 17 is not complete. Back on the tee, Sandy Lyle. Again, the tree to the left, the so-called Eisenhower tree. Jack Nicklaus hit it twice off the tee this week. That'll be the left side of the fairway. Hits a spectator, and he gets a little bit of a break. It comes back across the cart path. And meanwhile, back at the green, Calcavecchia for par. Did it at 16, did it at 15, saves par here at 17. A tie at the top in the final round of the 1988 Masters. Mark Calcavecchia, Sandy Lyle, both at 6 under. Craig Stadler in the clubhouse, 1 shot back.
Calcavecchia and Lyle tied for the lead at -6. Greg Stadler just one behind. Mark Calcavecchia on the tee and good reaction.
Boy, that is large right there.
Is he pumped up?
Oh, well, he's so strong, but that is just. Last time I saw a drive out that far, I saw Weiskopf hit one there one year. I couldn't
Exactly
believe
what
it.
I remember.
I thought I kept thinking, is he 2 there? That is a big drive.
Back to 17.
And Sandy Lyle getting the plaudits of the gallery. Sandy, of course, seemed so much in command of this tournament with a three-shot lead when he stood on the 11th tee. Bogeyed 11, double bogeyed 12, and then parred 13. So he played amen corner in 5-5-5, and this is the shot he has left, about 125 yards out. Ben Crenshaw, disappointing day for Ben, but he's not finished. If he can finish birdie, he's got a tie. I tell you, we get asked all the time, those of us who are lucky enough to work in sports, who are the nicer athletes you work with, and I think most would vote that man in the top 3, Ben Crenshaw. Bob Murphy?
Yeah, Vern. Ben finished birdie yesterday.
That's right. Started here, 30-footer. And then the 12-footer on 18. Got a chance. And now Sandy Lyle. Just off the front edge. And we go to 18.
Up the hill, Mark Calcavecchia and Bernard Langer. Mark, as Ken Venturi said a minute ago, hit as long a drive as we've ever seen, I guess.
Long time. He's only 130 yards from the hole, Pat. Bernhard Langer's 145. But the position, he's on the flat. He has a flat lie. And the thing about the shot he's using, I call it a two-way shot. You can either knock it at the hole and have it stop, or let it skip up the hill and come back. And here, I think if he makes the 3, he'll put enough heat on it that he'll win it. But
Langer will be first.
That's the one that you want to use this hill. That, to me, is the easiest pin placement to make 3 on the hole.
Langer's 145 yards away.
Looks like he's got an 8-iron. Just the shape of the club.
Wonderful sight.
He has taken an 8-iron. 145. He'll hit it. Have to hit it solid, but he has enough club. He's strong enough to put it there.
Mark Calcavecchia in the foreground. Looks as if he can't wait to get on with it. Langer.
No. Look out left. Look out, Gary. Same identical place that Seve Ballesteros hit the ball. And to get that up and down in 2 it's not the place to miss it.
What about, Kenny, what about Calcavecchia's shot now? He drove it so far, so perfectly.
Well, he puts a lot of spin on the ball. The one thing he wants to do, he can't knock it on the top shelf, I don't believe, but what he wants to do with the spin that he gets is to get it to the hole and pass and make the ball back up off the hill, leaving himself about 12 feet if it comes off that hill right.
If.
Yes. Watch this. That's what you have to guard against. That was the perfect shot if he had flown that thing enough club behind the hole and used that slope. Now he's got himself, we've seen almost 50% make bogeys from there.
Back to 17.
Sandy Lyle to break the tie. Left to right break. And 2 feet coming back the other direction. Back to 18.
Langer and Calcavecchia.
You know, you can say what you want about Calcavecchia's shot. Here he is, a young man, second Masters, tied for the lead. You know, and you don't want to knock it way by. Great applause. And a 27-year-old Mark Calcavecchia. I think the entire golfing world has learned appreciation from the Masters gallery as they walk up 18.
Let's go back to 17.
It's quite simple here, Pat and Kenny. Ben Crenshaw has to have this putt. And then probably one more. It was here a year ago. He missed a 4-foot par putt that cost him a spot in the playoff with Mize, Greg Norman, and Seve Ballesteros. That's a look of quiet anguish. Now Sandy Lyle with that much left for par. Kenny, he really seems to have gotten his composure back after the disaster at Amen Corner, don't you think?
I'll let you know right after this putt.
That's a good point.
Got an awfully good break off the tee, Vern, when that ball hit that gallery and bounced back in the fairway. But we'll just watch his composure here. No doubt there, Vern.
Still a tie. Lyle at 6 under, just as he began the day. And we go to 18.
Bernard Langer just walking up after a marvelous chip shot to get it close as he did. Back to 17.
It's a sad par for Ben Crenshaw, desperately needing a birdie, and he stays 2 off the pace. Now we go to 18.
This little chip right here, he has to get it above and over that little incline there and land it on the green. He'll take a lofted club rather than one with about a 6-iron and try to skip it from the top of the hill and make it run towards the hole. Either has a 9-iron or a pitching wedge, closed face, and pitch it on top of that little bit of hill. I am really impressed with his composure, Pat. I really think he's done a marvelous job. He'll finish at 6 under par, and all he has to do now is wait.
Watch and hope.
And see what happens. Longer played a beautiful little pitch up the hill, but they should. They're the best in the world, and they can play some shots that are really spectacular.
1, 2, 1, and 3 for Bernard. Now for par for Calcavecchia, and yes. Behind him on the ATT is Sandy Lyle.
With a 1-iron, as he's done every day. Look out, he's jumping up and down. Look out bunker. Look out, bunker. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Not the place to put it. He takes the 1 iron to play it safe. He hits it so far, and to tell you how far it is, that bunker that he rolled into is 256 yards from the tee.
Lyle 6 under. Calcavecchia just finished 6 under. Crenshaw looking for miracles.
Miracle it is. He has to make 2 to tie. Calcavecchia is in the clubhouse. Crenshaw is 4 under. Calcavecchia is finished at 6 under.
If there is a playoff, they'll go back to 10.
He has hooked his tee shot, and he's hooked it way left. Right into the gallery. We've seen a lot of tee shots over there this week, Pat.
Ballesteros twice has been over there.
Sandy Lyle would like to have it there and not in that bunker.
There's Sandy Lyle. After the tee shot, the 1 iron found the bunker. I can't believe I did that. Mark Calcavecchia 6 under and finished. Sandy Lyle at the bunker at 18. The audience is at 18. Mark Calcavecchia just finished 6 under par and waits. Sandy Lyle is at 6 under. Here's Calcavecchia just a moment ago.
Yes, I'll take it. Yes, I'll take it. When you think of the putt that he made, Pat, at 15, 16, 17, and that chip shot, that's a pretty good touch.
And now here's what Sandy Lyle faces.
Now you take the front of the bunker. It's 256. He's put it in the worst position he could put it. He's got the lip there. He's got to get the ball up. He's 145 yards to the hole, but the main thing he has to contend with is that lip. Now what do? Take a chance to try to hit it as hard as you can and fly it over the bunker, or if you can't reach the green, you've got to leave yourself out to the right to leave yourself a chip shot. So that depends. We're not down there, but it depends on what he feels he has to do or can do.
I think he has to go at it. I think he has to be aware, very obviously aware of what Calcavecchia did. He has to go after it.
As strong as he is, that shot is so much easier for someone like that. Like you take Norman, the shot that he hit, and you take the one that you saw Stadler hit. You can't hit that shot and be easy and not be strong.
Here's Ben Crenshaw. He's 4 under.
Crenshaw
Stadler through, Kenny at 5 under.
Crenshaw was saying he doesn't have the yardage from over here. He said, I've never been over here.
We know some people who have.
Yes, he could call Seve and ask him what club he hit.
All right.
And this is not really helping a lot of Sandy Lyle because he's waiting, and at this point you want to get going. You want to move. The last thing you want to do is sit and wait, because he's down there and he already has made up his mind. He knows what club he has to hit and he knows what he has to do. Crenshaw now with birdie would tie with Craig Stadler, and if anything goes wrong with Sandy Lyle, he could tie for second with birdie. But the best seat in the house right now, I would believe, is Mark Calcavecchia.
Maybe us.
Well, that's how we got here.
Calcavecchia watching now.
Crenshaw's 170 yards, so you can see how much farther back he's 25 yards behind where Sandy Lyle hit his shot. Crenshaw.
Hold it now. Hold it.
Get up. Get up. And just lost it left. And down the side of the hill. Take a good look at it. That's what he has come up that hill, and then with that fast green. Ballesteros was there. Bernhard Langer was there, and now we find Ben Crenshaw there.
And Ben just said, I can't believe I did it again. Here's Sandy Lyle.
7-iron. And the lip right there in front of him is the main concern. 7-iron is plenty. It's the lip. He picked it clean.
Sounded good, didn't it?
Oh, what? Watch this. Watch this.
Not over yet.
Watch this. Here it goes. There it goes. Well, I've seen two of the best. That's what I had in mind for Calcavecchia. But what a brilliant shot at the end, the last shot of the day.
Almost the same thing that Stadler did.
He picked that so clean. That was so good. It didn't even hardly touch the sand. 7-iron uphill out of the bunker, 145 yards. He put it by the pin about 10 yards, which he hit at 155. But another 2 feet, the ball would have stayed up, and it was absolutely got the most roll out of it he could.
As has been said, it's a game that most of us don't know.
Deserving hand. A man had made bogey at 11, double bogey at 12. And now, with all that behind him, has an 8-footer to win the Masters.
With all that, Kenny, he doesn't even look tired.
Well, he's always looks the same. You know, he's always calm and composed, and he said that he was going to keep in his bag patience. And that's the way that everyone that I spoke to that play with him said that that's the way he always looks.
Well, there must be something else in that bag, too, called talent.
Oh, yes, yes. He's been one of, if not the best player in Europe. He's so strong. To think how far he hit that 1-iron, and then think of, I've never known anybody before to hit a 1-iron off the 10th tee.
Here's Crenshaw.
He's taking a lofted club, probably sand wedge now, trying to hit it right at the crest of the hill. No, let me think of another shot. Well, he's taking a less lofted club. He's going to play a bump and run.
Get going.
I believe that Sandy Lyle will let Crenshaw finish out. Even though Sandy's away, he's going to let him go. Because I'll tell you what, if Sandy makes his putt, they would go out of here and Crenshaw would have some problems with the moving of the gallery. So he'll go ahead and putt out for his par to remain at 4 under if he makes this. And it'll be, he will finish 4 under.
That would put him in 4th place.
All by himself.
Right. Stadler would be at 5 under, is a 5 under.
If he misses the putt, he will tie with Norman, Pooley, and Fred Couples. And this is that same putt. Everybody with the slope of the green feel that it's got to move to the right. And really, it's almost straight. Very impressive. Very impressive. Well, I remember the great words of Henry Longhurst when the player was at the 16th hole, and he said once, he said, he very well knows what he has to do, and I guess there's nothing more to do now than just watch. What a comeback. A birdie at 16 and a birdie at 18 to snatch the championship away from Mark Calcavecchia.
Wow.
And there were so many that gave up on him after he went bogey, double bogey at 11 and 12. And there was no doubt when the ball started rolling, it was in the middle.
That shot out of the bunker is going to be one that you'll remember a long, long time.
You'll talk about the Larry Mizer shots. You'll talk about the putts of Nicklaus at 16 when he won here. They will talk about that fairway bunker shot. Watch the reaction. Now it'll really hit him. Congratulations. Watch it. Watch it. Yes, Pat, you're right. That will go down as one of the great shots that people have witnessed here at Augusta. It's a shot that timing, and it will be remembered more, just like Mizer's, because it was for the championship.
That's as good a victory dance as you'll see. And we'll have the presentation of the green jacket to Sandy Lyle as soon as he gets through with the mechanics of going through what happens in the tent, and see, as you look at some of the other finishing scores. Magnificent tournament for Raymond Floyd and for Hubert Green.
One of the poor ones for Tom Kite, who always does well here. And the winner, Sandy Lyle. Larry Mize didn't do as well as like, but was defending champion. Greg Norman, a magnificent round of golf today.
64. Dan Pohl, another strong Masters for him. So did Nick Price, who always plays well here. Craig Stadler. Good finishing day for him, huh?
Made a great run for it, really did. Doug Toole played well. Watson, he hit it right in the nose. 65 would have won. Or been in a playoff. Fuzzy Zeller with that fine first round, Pat.
Ken, thank you, Mr.
Kenny and Pat, thank you. This glorious golf tournament began on Wednesday with a little lighthearted fun. That's the annual par 3 competition. Here's a great hero here at Augusta, Arnold Palmer, but he found a watery grave and throwing up the towel of surrender is another Masters champion, Billy Casper. Then on Thursday, it all got started about 8:45 a.m. The traditional opening. He's now 86 years old, folks, Gene Sarazen, and he can still take it right down the middle of that first fairway. Oh, you know who he was playing with. One of the greatest swings of all time. Here he is, 3-time Masters champion, Sammy Snead. And another great shot. And the tournament was officially on. Great shots. And some shots that people like Seve Ballesteros would like to have back. I mean, he hooked this one, folks, at 15. But that's just like Ballesteros, all over the place.
Yeah, he's coming. Yeah, he's coming.
And after a drop, he came back and stayed in contention in this great tournament. Larry Nelson was the co-leader, a birdie putt here at 17. He shot a 69 that first day. Wind was the story on that first round. Then Friday, Don, wind quieted down. It was absolutely gorgeous. One of those tough, tricky par 3s on the back 9. Here was Curtis Strange at number 12. The ultimate for a golfer, a hole-in-one. You know, most of us would love this trophy, but Curtis does a very strange thing. He buries it out there in Rays Creek. And the leader, well, here was Sandy Lyle. No one from Great Britain had ever won the Masters. And here he was, needing this putt at 18 to save par. He'll never forget this green, will he? Then it was Saturday, another great day here in Augusta, Georgia. Ben Crenshaw, huge favorite with the galleries here. Went out and blistered the course, fired a 67. But a young golfer by the name of Mark Calcavecchia served notice on the par 5 15 that he was going to be a huge factor here. This great golf shot set up an eagle for Calcavecchia. Meanwhile, Sandy Lyle started to struggle just a little bit. Held the lead, but it was an uneasy two-shot lead coming into Sunday. And this was Lyle at the 4th hole. He was already over the green, and watch this chip. The roller coaster was on. Then he got to the back 9. And this is when the field started to bunch up. He gambled. He went right for the flag on the par 3 12th. And it was a bitter defeat. And then he went to the security blanket, the 1-iron at 18. He hit it so well it wound up in a bunker. And here's a shot they will never forget at Augusta. Sandy Lyle from the bunker. And when you're born of Scottish parents, it only seems like justice that it would come down to this birdie putt, and you would become the first golfer ever from Great Britain to win the Masters Championship. And with mother and father watching, Sandy Lyle becomes the first in history ever to win the Masters with a birdie putt on the last shot of the tournament. And what a fabulous feeling. Sandy Lyle, the 1988 Masters champion. So welcome everybody down to the Butler cabin for what has become a ritual of sport, the awarding of the green jacket from last year's champion, Larry Mize, to the current one. And Hord Harden, the chairman, and Hord, I'll tell you, year after year, you keep coming up with such great golf tournaments. Congratulations again.
Well, thank you, Brent. Sometimes we make it too hard, and sometimes we make it too easy. Sometime along the line, we're gonna get it just right, but this was a fantastic finish. Of course, we're here to honor our low amateur in the tournament, Jay Sigel, as well as our new champion,
Sandy Lyle, now sitting down.
And of course, among other things we want to do is to have our preceding champion, Larry Mize, present the green jacket to Sandy shortly, which is indicative of an honorary membership in the club. But first, let's talk to Jay. Jay, this is your 3rd time as low amateur. And my notes indicate it was 80, 81, and 83, and now 88. How do you account for your success here?
I don't know, Hord. I'm just delighted to be here on behalf of the amateurs, and we thank you. And as far as my play this year, I guess I played a little more this winter, and I think that's helped, so I've got to thank my wife for that.
Well, congratulations, and very nice job.
Thanks.
All right, Sandy, we come to you. I'm sure you're speechless.
Very much so.
We're delighted to have someone from Great Britain to be our Masters champion, and of course we congratulate you.
Thank you very much.
Before we award the jacket, we've got to find out from Sandy what he hit down there in that bunker, and what were your thoughts after taking that tremendous 1-iron into trouble, really?
Well, I was disappointed with the 1-iron, but pull it left. I knew the bunker was in danger, but when I got there, I found myself having a decent lie. That was the one thing I needed, was a decent lie, because it was quite a high lip in that bunker, and once I got a decent lie, I knew exactly what to do from there.
Sandy, let's take a look at it now in the monitor, and here it is. Could you see it where it landed up there?
I could tell by the feel of the club, it felt good, the right sort of distance. And I knew it was going to be close between going over the back and coming down. And it did the right thing for a change. That's an awful long putt, that is.
Yes, Sandy, long indeed, but not too long for you.
Well, I managed it.
Sandy, one other thing. What troubles so many golfers, amateurs out on the course, when things go badly, how does a golfer regain his composure? You put the ball in the water at 12. Now we have Stadler and Calcavecchia. They make a run. They take a lead on you. What'd you tell yourself to steady your game out there?
Well, I've got 2 par 5s to come, and I knew I had to make birdies in those, but I didn't, which is very annoying. I had very poor second shots, and you've just got to keep going. There's no other way. It just comes from the stomach, really, and I just had to keep going and do my best.
The Horde, it's your ceremony.
Well, I did want to ask Sandy if he used his 15th club when he was putting on the last green there. The 15th club being patience.
I think I haven't had that putt before for quite a long time. I wasn't too sure of the line. I just had to work from the grain and everything else where the shadow of the sun was shining and work from there, and I got the line just perfect.
You certainly did. Larry Mize, would you do the honors and put the green jacket on Sandy, please?
Get up off of you.
We're glad to.
Hooked up.
Glad to have you here, and my pleasure to
Thank you.
put this jacket on you. That was a great birdie at 18 to go along with some excellent play.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations,
Thank you,
Sandy.
Lord.